I'm Mrs. Sunn. Welcome to Math from Home. Today we are going to talk about opposite number and absolute value. Let's start by picking up a simple number, say 3. And the question is, what is the opposite number of 3 and what is the absolute value of 3? Let me first locate 3 on the number line. We know that every rational number has a unique position on the number line. I've got a line and I need an origin. Let's put it here because I need it to be somewhere in the middle. And now I have to divide the unit. Number 3. So if I take this as my 1, so 3 would be here. So the opposite number of 3 is the number which locates the other side of 3 but has the same distance from 0. Notation-wise, we put a negative sign in front of 3. Right? So that is a number on the other side, opposite side of 3, but have the same distance from 3. So from 0 to 3, we got 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. So the opposite number of 3 is on the other side, but the same distance. 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. Here's negative 3. So the opposite number of 3 is negative 3. Now you may ask, what is the opposite number of negative 3? So the opposite number of negative 3, again, we simply put a negative sign in front of it. So we know this is equivalent to a negative 1 multiply a negative 3. We know that when two negative numbers multiply together with the same sign, the product would be positive. So the answer would be positive 3. So from this example, we can see when two numbers differ only by size, they are opposite to each other. When two numbers differ only by size, they are opposite to each other. The same thing like 5 is the opposite of negative 5. And also, negative 5 is the opposite of 5, for example. Now let's look at the absolute value. So what is the absolute value of 3? The sign of absolute value is 2 long bars. When we put a number inside, we are looking for the distance between this number and 0. Right. Absolute value of 3 means we are looking for the distance between 3 and 0. And we can see from here 1, 2, 3 units. So the 3 units away, we put 3 here. Now, what is the absolute value of negative 3? Again, this means we are looking for the distance between 0 and the negative 3. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. Again, 3 units. So the absolute value of negative 3 is also 3. Do you see they got the same absolute values? That means opposite numbers have the same absolute value. In other words, we can say for an absolute value, for a non-zero absolute value, there is always 2 answers. One is the opposite, the other is negative. Okay, to summarize it, opposite number is the number lies on the opposite side of that number and with the same distance from 0. Notation is put a negative sign in front of it. Absolute value is talking about the distance from 0 of a number. Notation-wise, you have 2 long bars. And simply you can say that just make it positive regardless. Whatever into the size of absolute value, it comes out positive. All right. Now let's try another example. I would like to find out for negative 1/2. For opposite number as well as absolute value. So what is the opposite number of negative half? I simply put a negative sign in front of it. We know that negative, two negative, the same size, get positive. The opposite number of negative half. 0 here, let me have, if this is my 1, 2, 1, 2, minus 1, so half is negative half. All right? So the opposite number of negative half is positive half. Absolute value, put negative half inside absolute value. Everything put inside, just make it positive, regardless. So it's half. Because the distance from negative half to the origin is just half unit. Half unit. Here's some questions for you to do. First, find the opposite number and absolute value for negative 2.39 and 0. Second question, a number's absolute value is 17. Find the number. So please pause now and come back when you've finished. Welcome back. Let's have a look at the first question. First, find the opposite number and the absolute value for negative 2.39. The opposite number of 2.39, we simply put a negative sign in front of it because they're looking for a number on the opposite side of negative 2.39 but with the same distance from 0, right? Now, what do we get? Negative 1 multiplied by negative 2.39. Two sides are the same. The product is positive. 1 multiply anything is anything. 2.39. That is the opposite number of negative 2.39. Sorry. Now let's find the absolute value for negative 2.39. I just simply put 2.39 negative inside bar. Remember what is here? Make it positive regardless. So whatever I put into the absolute value comes out positive. That is the absolute value for negative 2.39. Now let's look at 0. So what is the opposite number of 0? 0 is the origin, right? We're saying that the opposite number is a number on the other side and have the same distance from 0. But 0 is holding a place separating the positive and the negative, right? And the opposite is actually the self, and there's no distance. 0 has no distance from 0 because it is only the self. The distance is 0. So in this case, the opposite number of 0 is 0. And the absolute value of 0, which means the distance from 0 is also 0. 0 is a special number. Remember that. Now let's come to the second question. The absolute value of a number is 17. Find a number. The absolute value means the distance from 0, right? So that means which number have 17 units away from 0? We have two answers. First is positive 17, let's say. If I say this is my 17, okay? And then from a positive becomes 17 units from there. And then the other is negative 17, all right? It doesn't matter how long it is, as long as they are equidistant. So I can say this is negative 17. They have the same distance. All right, one count from positive side, the other count from negative side. So 2 values, n equals 17 and equals negative 17. That's the answer. Thank you for watching. See you next time.